Good morning, little sister, or afternoon, or evening, wherever or whatever time of day it is for you. I hope that you're having a great one. And our topic today is going to be on where you want to be and how you can be in that mindset now. So, before we get into it, I just really appreciate you being here on my channel. I hope that you find this video helpful for you, and I hope that you like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to get to know you, and I would love to have you come and watch more of my videos. So, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I hope that you have a great day. Let's get into it. All right, so I've broken up our dream selves today into 5 categories. First, we are going to have physical, mental, financial, future, and spiritual. So, with the first set of physical, I put kind of 2 subcategories under there. So, I actually have self care and dressing to impress. So, the first thing is I'm a huge fan of as beloved as above, so below. So, what that means is that however you are feeling inside is going to be how you present yourself on the outside. Now, of course, if you feel like you only weigh 100 pounds, it's going to take a little time for your body to catch up with that. But we always know when we dress nicely and we feel confident in our outfit that we go through the world with way different vibes than we do if we are feeling crummy, or we're feeling sick, or we're feeling like we're really ugly in that moment, or things like that. So now, for the self-care, I think that it is super important to have a routine, a morning routine and an evening routine. I've personally been implementing this, and I have really loved how productive it makes me. And once you do your routine for like a week or so, you actually really get into the habit of it, and like you see a big change, and you don't want to give that up, and you like the change that that's offering in your life. So, my morning routine, I have been starting out first thing in the day, taking a drink of water and taking my supplements, and I have a morning tea that I take. So, start out in the morning right away with those things. I've also been waking up a lot earlier than the time that I need to be waking up. I've been trying to wake up every day at 7:30 because that fits for me. I don't work until the evenings, so 7:30 to me is like 4:30 a.m. for other people. But it's just been a huge change on how much I can get done in my day. I felt like I was losing all my time, and like all my time was slipping away. And just waking up even 30 minutes to an hour earlier makes such a huge difference for those big tasks that you need to get done. But having that self-care of going to bed on time, having more of a set bedtime. I personally added not using my device right before bed, like my phone. I do still watch TV before bed, but I try to not be on Messenger or TikTok or things like that right before bed. And then drinking a bedtime tea, I also added that in. But brushing my teeth, as terrible as it sounds, I was being really bad about like passing out on the couch because I was staying up so late, going to bed without brushing my teeth. And so that was a really big thing that I wanted to get back on top of, because I was not doing as good at that in the evening. And also, you just feel gross when you fall asleep on the couch. You wake up and you zombie walk to bed and you pass out. Like, you just feel yucky. And so, just falling asleep in the correct place at the correct time, and not feeling like I have to be bone tired or exhausted, that I could like be like, yeah, it's my bedtime, like just lay down. So the thing that I've been doing, this is a little bit of digress from the self-care, but what I've been doing when I lay down in bed and I don't feel sleepy, I have been manifesting. So basically, you just choose a scenario. I have been manifesting about my trip to Hawaii. So you choose a scenario and you just go through it from top to bottom, add in as much details as you can, picture it, and it's kind of like counting sleep. So sorry, you guys. It's kind of like counting sheep, but more productive, because you're manifesting, you're seeing yourself in that mindset, you're picturing your dream self, you could be picturing your business that you're opening, all of those things. So you're literally falling asleep every night thinking about how much better you're going to be tomorrow, the better self that you're going to be, and how much better your life is going to be tomorrow. And that is literally going to give you a better tomorrow. So, under physical, self-care, which I include the gym in self-care. Now, you don't have to go to the gym, but we all already know that exercise is important, whether it's getting outside and taking a walk, or doing some crunches, or whatever you do. do what feels good to you. I have like a core workout that I do. Not for my core, but like I have a core few movements that I do, and then whatever I feel like doing that day, I kind of add on, which is a little bit unconventional to most gym goers, but I am not just being like willy-nilly about it. I'm adding on like, oh, I recently saw this workout, I would like to add it into my rotation, and then it adds into my base ones, and I slowly have been building. I literally started from a 10-minute stretch routine, and now I work out for about 45 minutes, almost an hour most days. So it really can build without having to feel so stressful, or like you have to lift 100 pounds your first week, or like things like that. So the next section that I did is going to be under mental. So I have two things under there. I have affirmations and your current self-thought. So I saw this video the other day and I thought it was really cool. The girl in the video, she said, have a self-appraisal day. So like the next day that you do, that's your basic day, like work and blah, blah, blah. Like go through your day, but be conscious of the choices that you're making, and notice where you make good choices and where you make bad choices, and be able to adjust that. So for me personally, I want to speak to you guys about negative self-thought, because we are literally the meanest person to ourselves. So what I saw in a video, and I thought that it was really cool, different video, but I watch a lot of videos, okay? But so basically she was saying, picture your inner child as your little sister. Would you let somebody treat your little sister and talk to your little sister the way that you talk to yourself? Because your inner child is still in there. So every time you're like, wow, you're so fucking fat when you look through the mirror. Sorry for the word. When you look in the mirror, literally when you look in that mirror, picture your younger self as a little child. Would you go and just walk up to a child and tell them that? No, you would never tell them that. You would tell them like, oh, you're working to become better. You would tell them that they're working at different things. You would tell them that they're beautiful, how they are, and that they're going to grow into themselves. So why are we so hard on ourselves when we can be so kind and sweet to others? So that is what I suggest you doing. Picture yourself outside of yourself as your best friend, as your little sister, as your whatever you need to picture yourself as. Picture your tiny, small child self. And then don't be terrible to a child. Catch yourself. Now, with catching our negative self-thoughts, we cannot be mean about it as well, because that undoes anything that you're catching. So if you're like, wow, I look really thick today, or I look really gross today, then you would say, hey, wait a minute, why am I saying that to myself? And you could look in the mirror and you could say like, oh, I don't really like how my chin is looking today, like, I don't know. Pick out one specific thing that you can change. Like, oh, I really hate how this dress is fitting. Put on a different dress. And then reroute that self-talk. Like, wow, I didn't look my greatest, but I reappraised, and now I look so much better. And now I have the motivation to go to the gym more often. Like, use it to your advantage. So the second part of mental is the affirmations. So for me personally, I actually do my affirmations in French because I am trying to learn French. So I'm trying to embellish that into my life as much as possible. So I do my affirmations in French. But you could do your affirmations in whatever language you want to, English or whatever. I know a lot of people that are teaching their children a language will teach their children an affirmation in that language. So not only are they having a more powerful moment for themselves, they are also practicing their language, which is goals, right? So for affirmations, you need to be sure that you're addressing each affirmation instead of just being like, oh, I am, or I feel. There is literally a different affirmation beginning for each chakra, and I would suggest having 7 affirmations that you say. You don't have to say them all at the same time, and you don't have to say them every day if you don't feel like you need to, but you can have different affirmations for your different levels of your chakra, because some affirmations, like I am, those are not going to feel as true to you. So you can swap that I am statement. Like, let's say I am abundant. If that doesn't feel true to you, you can swap that to a different section where you say I feel abundant because you are feeling that. And so that is something that is true to you, and those feelings will continue to grow and be true to you. If an I am statement's not true for you, you can always replace it with an I feel or I am becoming. You can add becoming into there as well. So now the third section is going to be financial. So for financial, you need to kind of sit down and say, like, what would a day in the life cost me? So for me personally, I did a week in the life instead of a day in the life because I want to have self-care routines that happen weekly, like nails and things like that. So I tallied up my most expensive week in the life, right? Of when I am at my peak, at my favorite self. And what I found out is it was actually cost me less than I thought it was going to. Like, I was like, oh, it's going to be like a $1 million week. And it like wasn't even that much. And I was like, oh, okay. So like I wrote down everything that I would like to do on a regular basis. And then I wrote down how much each of those things cost me. And then I times that by my whole month or by my whole week or whatever. And then you can do it times by your whole year if you want to. So you know what kind of salary you would need to be making. But then also, you need to be thinking when you're spending about the investment that's coming back. So you have two options of investing. You can invest interior or exterior. When you invest interior, you are pouring things into yourself. Could be money, could be, spending on a class, could be spending on clothes, whatever. You are investing interior to your body. And when I say interior, I still mean your outside of your body because the interior is just going to be yourself. Then you can invest exterior, which is investing typically cold hard cash, but it could be assets, into something that is going to grow. Let's say stocks or oh my goodness, excuse me, I'm sorry, or buying real estate or things like that. Something along those lines would be an external investment. So you need to decide what kind of money do you need in a year? What do you want to do to make that money? And where do you want that money? So I guess, where do you want that money to come from? So what kind of money do you need? Where do you want that money to come from? And how are you going to sustain that for the rest of your life? So first thing, what kind of money you need. That's that exercise that I was telling you. Sit down, figure out how much you're going to spend in a year, in a month, in a week, whatever you want to do. Then, where do you want that money to come from? Do you want that money to come from investments? Do you want it to come from a side hustle, from your main job? What do you want to pour into to make that money come from? Where do you want that money to be coming from? And I would suggest having multiple streams of money coming in from different places. But again, I digress. So the third one, like I said, is how do you plan to continue making that come in like that? And are you just going to kind of plateau, or do you want it to keep going? Like, do you want it to keep building? Do you want it to stay a certain level? What really, like, you need to get in there and figure out, budget as if you didn't have a limit. Budget for when you don't have a limit. So, now for the internal investments, I think that those are the most important investments that you can ever do, because you need to invest in yourself inside to be able to grow that's school, that's courses, that's certificates, that's working through trauma, that's journaling, that's doing your hair, that's getting a new closet. That's all of those things are internal and self investments that are the most important thing, because even if you buy real estate right now and you have it the rest of your life, you still will have had yourself for longer. You are the longest investment that you are going to have, and the most important investment, and you choose in which direction your life is going to go. So investing inside, as above, so below. You're going to see those things come into your world as you invest into your mind. So now my fourth section is future. So this one kind of goes hand in hand with the self-investment, because it is about your job and your education. So for your future, do you even want to have a job? Because I don't want to have a job. I just want to be an investor. And I would honestly suggest reading several books. There's several self-help books, and I'll list a link down below of a list of books that I'm currently and have read before, so that y'all can look at it if you want. But a big book that I think is super great is talking about, of course, the cash flow quadrant of what section are you wanting to be in. I personally want to be an investor, and I never want to have a job again. Now, a job is classified as something that you could not step away from, that you are the only person that can do this. So if you are a self-employed business owner, the majority of the time you still have a job, because your business is your job. Your business can't run when you step away from it. However, if you have employees that say run your coffee shop for you and you just own and approve stuff, then you are an investor and a business owner, and you are no longer having a job, because it could run with or without you. So choosing if you want to have a job, what kind of job you want to have, what things interest you, how many hours you want to put towards your job, those sorts of things are really important to figure out so that you have that longer term goal that you're working towards. Oh, also, sorry about the writing on my hand. I took an aura test today and I had to write down to remember what section it was, but it was a pretty cool aura test. I thought it was interesting. There's not a lot of them out there because it's kind of hard to scientifically talk about your aura. But it was a very interesting one. It was on Vanessa Samoyma's channel, and I really enjoy her. She has a lot of tarot videos and aura videos, so go check her out. She's got some great information. Back to this though. So within the future section is also your education. You have to decide, are you wanting to go to school? Do you not want to go to school? And that goes hand in hand with choosing what job you're wanting to have as well. So then in our fifth and final section, and in my opinion, one of the most important sections is going to be your spiritual section. So your spiritual section, under there, the first two things that I think you need to work on is meditation. If you think you don't need to meditate, then you need to spend longer meditating. If you think meditating is not for you, then you're wrong, because meditation is just the act of looking inward and spending time with yourself. If you are not meditating, then that's a lie, because everybody spends time looking inside themselves. It's just how intentional it is. You need to set aside time to intentionally meditate, look inside yourself, and this will really help clear out wounds that you have inside yourself, like mother wounds and things like that. It will really help align your internal self. But also under spiritual, I put feminine energy as well. Meditation really helps unlock your feminine energy. There's several guided meditations that you can do, and if you are not comfortable doing a personal meditation, I would suggest starting with a guided meditation, because I used to think the same thing about meditation. My brain was way too busy for me to do a self-meditation, so I personally started with a guided meditation so that I would be able to clear my brain and just listen to the person's voice. Now I can do self-meditations much better, and sometimes I'll even do them when I first wake up in the morning, or when I'm trying to go to sleep, I'll even do a meditation. Now, the second section of spiritual, well, there's kind of three, because I am touching on divine feminine energy as well, but I will actually make a full video explaining unlocking and opening that feminine energy and kind of just embracing your feminine self. So the other section is limiting beliefs. Now, we all know that we have limiting beliefs. So something, big limiting belief that we have, a lot of us have, is on money. How much money there is in the world and how much money you can make. First off, hun, money is fake. Money is printed and money is fake. When you look at your bank account and it says there's $1,000 in there, there's not some vault at the bank that is holding $1,000 for you. That's literally imaginary money. It just says it's on there. Your debit card is imaginary money. It's nothing physical. When your check comes direct deposit, it's imaginary until you cash it and it's in your hands. But the whole concept of money is imaginary in general. The only value placed behind that is the value that we put upon it. So yes, I agree that we need money to live our lives, but money is fake, okay? Y'all, money is just an energy. It's just something that we put in place for that energetic exchange. And so if it's energetic, then it's a whole circle. And also, on top of that, we literally print money. There's plenty of money in this world for every single person in this world. Every single person in this world, and I stand by that. You have to believe that you can have it. So those limiting beliefs, a really easy way to abolish those, or to address those, I suppose, would be to sit down and say, when you do your day in the life of how much you're spending, you need to add in there how much you're making. And if you're like, I could never make $100,000 in a year, that's your limiting belief right there. And you need to ask yourself, why not? We are in our why not phase. Our why not phase. Do you hear me? Our why not phase. Because we need to be asking ourselves, why not? If you want something, why can't I have it? Why can't I have it? Okay, list out. I want to make $100,000 in a year. Actually, I don't. I want to make way more than that, but let's go with that. So let's say I want to make $100,000 in a year. And I was like, that's a lot of money. How are you going to make that? What? And so then I would ask myself, why not? Well, so then you list out the reasons why not. Well, you don't have a job that pays you that right now. You have taxes, so how much would you have to make before taxes to do that? Nobody in your family's ever made that much money. You didn't go to college, so why do you deserve it? You don't deserve it? What? What? Y'all, did you hear me say divine feminine energy? Y'all are divine because we come from God. We have a crown chakra. Everybody has a crown chakra because you have a crown. You have a crown on your head that is from God. Would you deny God anything? If God knocked on your door and was like, yo, I need your plasma flat screen TV that costed you $4,000, would you give it to him? Yes. If God needed it, you would think he knew what he was doing and he needed it. So if you would give that to God because you see him in awe, there's a book called A Course in Miracles, and in that book, Jesus Christ says this. He said, you should not look at me in awe because I am the same as you. You are who limits your own self. Y'all, even if you don't believe in God, okay? Even if you don't believe in God and you just believe in a creator and a higher power, we were still made from that creator. We were still made from that higher power. We are the only thing on earth that was, bam, put on earth. Everything else on earth evolved. Okay? We were put on earth to be on earth. We were given earth to steward over it for God, or for the creator, or for the universe, whatever you want to call it, or whoever you connect with. We literally were created to take care of this earth. So if you can't do it for you, do it for the people that depend on you. If you can't manifest making $100,000 in a year because you feel like it would be selfish for you to do it for yourself, add your kids into your day in the week. How much money do you spend on your kids in a week? Are you wanting to take them on vacation? Are you wanting to send them to sports? Are you wanting to let them go to a private school? Do a day in a life, including the people that depend on you. Because a lot of people that are empath, and a lot of women in general, because we are so good at giving, divine feminine energy is actually receiving. We think as women that we're supposed to just give. We're actually supposed to be receiving and then giving. As women, we're like a water tap. You have to turn the water tap on first. It's not just always spouting. There's an on-off switch. So for women, we need to be receiving before we can give. So we need to receive love and admiration and things like that. Like, think of like photosynthesis. You have to receive the sun, then the plant grows, and then it gives out matter that allows the earth to help. It's a whole cycle, you know? That's how we are as women. We need to receive that energy first to put out that energy. Just like, okay, let's break it down into a baby. You have to receive a sperm first for the baby to be made, and then you can put out that baby. Like, everything you have to receive first for it to be created. Like, did the chicken or the egg come first? The chicken came first. Because the female chicken had to receive something to create the baby chicken. Like, okay, I don't even know where I'm going off on there about the chicken egg thing. Sorry. But, like, I'm just saying, as feminine energy, we assume that we are supposed to be giving, that we're supposed to be doing all of this. But we're not. We're not, y'all. Men are supposed to be holding the world on their shoulders, and we are supposed to be feeding them to keep them strong. Just let that sink in, y'all. The divine feminine energy is meant to receive strength from the masculine energy. And I'm not saying that you can only receive your strength from a man, because you do have feminine and masculine energy in you. You're like a 60, 40, 70, 30 type split. But you have to use your masculine energy to, like, okay, Spirit's kind of telling me, like, so it's kind of telling me, the picture that just came to mind is, like, have you ever seen those videos of those really old water wells, and you have to pour a bucket of water in to start the spinning? Well, that bucket of water, that's that first bucket of water, is your masculine energy. You pour that in to start, you get your motivation, and you get going. And then because of that receiving of the masculine energy, you are able to receive that with your feminine energy and continue forward working it out in that feminine way to continue that water wheel spinning, if that makes sense. But, so those are my 5 sections that I came up with, you girls, for today, just to kind of break it down. And so, basically, all of these things, in working on these 5 sections is going to help you to be able to picture who you are going to be in the future, because that's really important. You can't just, like, be going willy-nilly towards nothing. You have to have a destination. So you need to come up with who you are in the future, what you're going to look like, your favorite self, and you need to be her as much as you can every single day. When you make that list of what your favorite self does in a day or in a week, you can look at those different things and see, like, does she wake up at 6 a.m.? Can you wake up at 6 a.m.? If you can wake up at 6 a.m. every day, do it, because that's what she does, and you are her. If you can go to bed at a reasonable time every day, do it. If you can get off your phone at a reasonable time every day, do it. If you can spend less time on TikTok, do it. So this is not in my sections, but this is one thing. This is a productivity tip that I am actually just starting out, and I'll let you know how it goes in my next video. Basically, instead of making a daily to-do list, well, I'm still making, like, my daily to-do list, but I'm making a bored to-do list. So whenever I'm bored, I usually pick up my phone or get on Netflix or something like that to fill in my mind. So I'm making a list of things that I can do when I'm bored, activities that, and then a time that goes with them. So if I have 10 minutes and I'm bored and I only have 10 minutes, then I can practice violin for 10 minutes. So, like, on my list, I'm adding different things. So I'm adding some things that are growing things, like learning French, violin, things like that. And then I'm adding some things that are stillness things, so a meditation or a chakra clearing, or, you know, divine feminine energy, or working on that. And then I'm adding some creativity things, so I have writing in there that I can write a page or two. So I'm just putting things on my list, so then when I'm bored, I literally pluck them out of a hat, and I'm like, okay, this is my 10-minute hat, this is my or, you know, I think I'm gonna break it up into 15, 30, and an hour. So then I'll have the, like, 3 hats. So things can be in multiple sections. So, like, I could play violin for 15 minutes, I could play it for 30, or I could play it for an hour. So it can be in all of those sections. And then I would just pluck it out of a hat. And so this is, like, I kind of came up with this today on my drive to work. So I would put them in a hat, and then I would pluck it out of the hat, and while I was bored, I would complete that task first. And that's not to say that I can't have Netflix going while I do that task, if it's something that I can have Netflix going for. And watching Netflix can be a part of it, but I want to be focusing on a task. I used to think it was so cool to be able to multitask. Well, actually, I want to do things with intention now. That is my goal for 2024, is to do things with intention. So if it's watching Netflix that I pull out of my hat, then I need to not be on my phone. I need to just be sitting there and actually, like, watch Netflix. But for me personally, I like watching Netflix while I'm doing something else, like sewing or writing. And not as much writing most of the time, because it's kind of more of a creativity thing. But, like, I like watching Netflix while I'm sewing, like I just said, or cooking or things like that. And then that is my second strategy, is to schedule in my Netflix. So schedule in while making dinner, watch Netflix, write that in, like literally schedule that into my time, because then I don't feel like Netflix is what I go to when I have the time and I want to just do something. It's something that is already scheduled in. When I watch it, then I'm over and I can continue forward. And then I also have 2 sections of Netflix that I'm allowed to watch. So I have some times where I can watch anything I want to watch, and it's like, okay, just do whatever, chill out. Your mind is just, sludge right now. And then the other one is educational. Like I want to watch something so that my brain is working, but I don't want it to just be putting nothing into my brain. So I will watch something educational either on Netflix or on YouTube at that point. But then I've also just been doing music times where like my brain is bored and I just put on music and I let my brain kind of just think and work through it and just have a moment. Like sometimes we just need that reboot moment. But that is all I have for you today, little sisters. I hope that you learned something and that you will let me know how any of these exercises work in your life to help implement that. And I will come out with that video on divine feminine energy next week for y'all. And I love you and I am proud of you, and you are doing amazing every single day. So let's go be the better us tomorrow. Have a great one. Bye.